Hello. In this lecture, I am going to introduce the integumentary system. The integumentary system is largely made up of your skin. So, integumentary means literally covering, and so it is going to include both the skin as well as what are known as its appendages. The appendages being things like sweat glands, oil glands, hair, nails, um, and really the subcutaneous tissue as well. Uh, main function of the skin is for protection, but it does have other functions as well. Skin is largely considered the largest organ in your body. It covers the entire body and has a surface area of about 1.2 to 2.2 square meters, which accounts for about 15% of the body weight in the average adult. It has different thicknesses, generally anywhere from 1.5 millimeters to 4 millimeters, although it can be more. And it really consists of two distinct layers, the epidermis and the dermis. So the function of skin starts off with protection. So it's going to provide a chemical barrier, as well as a physical barrier and a biological barrier. Chemical barriers includes the secretions as well as melanin, acidic such as the acid mantle, dermacidin, and bactericidal substances that are found in the sweat and sebum. Physically, it acts as a continuous barrier of hard keratinized cells that is going to prevent most things from going across the skin, although certain lipid substances can penetrate the barrier. And then finally, biologically, there are going to be dendritic cells of the epidermis and macrophages in the dermis that ultimately are going to have an immune function that helps protect the body as well. So, in addition to protection, it's also going to play a major role in temperature regulation. So, generally, if the skin or if the temperature is below about 31 to 32 degrees Celsius, the skin will secrete about half a liter of sweat per day. This is known as insensible perspiration, essentially meaning that it's perspiration that you don't notice because you're just losing it throughout the day. On hotter days, when physical temperatures are higher, or if you're being physically active, the output is going to increase, and one person can lose up to 12 liters of water in one day. This is known as sensible perspiration. Overall, the reason that we sweat is primarily because this provides a layer of water which can then evaporate to cool the body. Uh, Skin also plays a role in temperature regulation in that dermal blood vessels can constrict, causing the warm blood to bypass the skin and slowing passive heat loss. Skin, as you may know, is going to be very important for sensation. Our sense of touch is largely going to be determined through the interactions that our skin has with our environment. There are a number of different things that are present that are going to help with these sensations. So, first of all, you have tactile or Meissner's corpuscles. We find these in the dermal papillae. We'll see what those are in a moment. And so that's what that structure represents. And you have tactile epithelial cells with sensory nerve endings that make us aware of caress. Lamellar or Pacinian corpuscles are deeper in the dermis and found also in the subcutaneous tissue. They help alert us to bumps or contacts involving deep pressure. So you can see them right in that area of the skin diagram. Hair follicles have receptors associated with them. So these receptors report wind blowing through the hair. We also have free nerve endings, as we would see in this region right here, that are going to help sense skin, or that are going to help sense painful stimuli. And then Ruffini corpuscles, those seen right there, are going to sense skin stretching, movement, and finger position. Uh, Skin also has a variety of other functions, so it's helping our body synthesize vitamin D. Uh, it does this through activation via sunlight. It does also help to activate certain steroid hormones and can disarm cancer causing chemicals as well. So, those are some of its metabolic functions. It does act as a blood reservoir, so blood can go there, and it does hold about 5% of the body's entire blood, which can be recruited when other organs have greater need. And a minor role in excretion, so it is going to get rid of some nitrogen containing waste, and is also going to be responsible for water and salt loss. So now that we know some of the importance of skin, let's take a look at the deeper structure of skin. So layers of skin, there are two distinct layers. So on the superficial surface, we have what is known as the epidermis, and below that, we have what is known as the dermis. So these are the two components that are considered skin layers. Now, below the dermis, we have the hypodermis or subcutis. This is going to be composed mostly of loose connective and fatty tissues. The epidermis is going to be composed of closely packed epithelial cells, and is going to be non-vascular, while the dermis makes up the bulk of the skin. Is generally going to be the tough, leathery portion composed mostly of dense, irregular connective tissue, is going to be vascularized, have the hair follicles, sweat glands, and other structures that we find within it. All right, so let's take a deeper look at the epidermis, because the epidermis is actually going to consist of several different layers. Overall, though, we describe the epidermis as keratinized, meaning that its cells contains keratin, stratified, so more than one layer, and squamous, so flattened cells. These cells are there to help endure friction, and because it is our outer surface, it is going to result in a rapid replacement of this. So you replace almost your entire epidermis every 4 to 6 weeks. If you get a tattoo and you want the tattoo to stick around, you need to get it to go below the epidermis because of this. Now, persistent friction can cause a thickening of the epidermis into a structure known as a callus. All right, so let's take a look at the layers of the epidermis. So the epidermis is going to consist of 5 layers, or strata. The term strata literally translates to bed sheets. So going from the superficial to the deep, we have the stratum corneum. Then the stratum lucidum is beneath that. The stratum granulosa is the 3rd layer. Typically the thickest is going to be the stratum spinosum. And then the stratum basale layer is going to be the deepest layer of the epidermis. So to remember this, I have a little mnemonic for you. Come, corneum, let's, lucidum, get, granulosum, sun, spinosum, burned. Now, this is not actual advice. Don't go out and get a sunburn, because that can lead to other problems in both the short and the long term. All right, so we're actually going to move from the deep to the superficial as we talk about these different layers. So first of all, the stratum basale. This is the deepest layer. It's also known as the stratum germinativum. This is because it is going to be a highly mitotic layer that is going to help to replace cells. So we have largely this layer made up of the youngest keratinocytes known as basal cells. These are what divide to give rise to other keratinocytes. Also found in this layer, you have Merkel cells. This functions as a receptor and is responsible for stimulating sensory nerves that the brain perceives as touch. They are especially abundant in our hands and feet. And then another cell that we find here is a melanocyte. This is the cell that produces the pigment melanin. Melanin gives hair and skin its color and also helps protect the living cells from the ultraviolet light damage. About 10 to 25% of the cells in this layer are going to be melanocytes. All right, the stratum spinosum is the next layer. The spinosum literally means prickly. So this is going to be several cell layers thick. They all have these spine-like extensions coming from them, but this is actually an artifact of the microscope and how the tissue is prepared. They contain thick bundles of intermediate filaments. Within this layer, in addition to these keratinocytes, you are going to find Langerhans cells. This functions as a macrophage, which will engulf bacteria, foreign particles, and damaged cells that might be present in this layer. All right, one layer more superficial, we have the stratum granulosum. This can vary from 1 to 5 cell layers. This is where the keratinocyte appearance changes drastically because they're going to start to be keratinicized. The cells are going to flatten, the nuclei and organelles begin to incinerate, and they accumulate one of two types of granules. So those granules are going to either contain keratohyalin, which helps to form keratin in the upper layers by providing the glue that binds the pre-keratin intermediate filaments together. And you also have lamellar bodies or lamellar granules. Lamellar means small plate. These are going to be granules that contain water-resistant glycolipids secreted to the extracellular space with tight junctions in between the cells here, helping to prevent water loss across the epidermis. All right, one layer superficial to that, in certain areas of skin, you have the stratum lucidum. Lucid means light. This is going to be the clear layer that's found only in thick skin. So that's going to be skin of your palms, fingertips, and the soles of your feet. This is going to help protect it because these are areas especially subject to abrasion. So these cells are going to be flat. They are also going to be dead keratinocytes. And then finally, in all skin, the most superficial layer is the stratum corneum. This is going to be generally 20 to 30 cell layers thick. They will consist of keratinocytes that are anucleate, full of keratin, and going to be the main function to protect the body from abrasive contact with things. So it's going to help protect your skin by being that outer layer. Now, if we move more deep, we get to the dermis. So the epidermis, that is going to be all of this top layer here. So we have sort of a wavy appearance on the bottom. All this pink staining down here and below, that is going to represent the dermis. So the dermis is actually going to consist of two layers. The upper layer is the papillary layer. So that's where you see these waves that kind of intermingle with the epidermis. And then the deeper layer is going to be the reticular layer. The papillary dermis is going to be a thin superficial layer of areolar connective tissue. It contains these dermal papillae meaning nipple, so that region right there. Found in this, you will find capillary loops, nerve endings, touch receptors, including tactile and Meissner's corpuscles. The reticular dermis accounts for most of the thickness of the dermis. It will consist of coarse, dense, irregular connective tissue. It contains a network of blood vessels known as the dermal vascular plexus that lies between this layer and the subcutaneous tissue. The extracellular matrix contains thick bundles of interlacing collagen fibers, and most of these fibers are going to run parallel to the skin. All right, so that is an introduction to the basic structure of the skin. We'll stop there and continue in our next video talking about some of the deeper aspects of skin and skin structure.